If you answered, I can't hear you. Are you there? Nathan? Nathan? Hello, hello? Are you over there?
I think so. Can you hear me now?
I got you now. Are you able to jump back in, or is the link gone?
No, it's the same link.
Yeah, I think you can use the panelist link. It gets glitchy going in and out like that sometimes, but I think the panelist link should still work. It's the same webinar, and now at least it will try to let me go live to Facebook.
I was sitting here like waiting for a new link, and then this makes more sense.
We'll see if it does or not. It did the same thing to Andy and I a couple weeks ago, and this is what we had to do to get it to work.
Yeah. It says I can join.
Oh, baby. Just like that.
You get that sick audio feedback if you don't hang up the phone.
I hung up the phone now.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Let's just do this thing.
You're a podcaster. I'm a podcaster. We pretty much have this figured out.
Yeah, we're just gonna host each other. Are you gonna use it for your podcast, or how do you want to do that?
I absolutely plan on it. So my only technical question to you was going to be, are you recording it somewhere where I can have access to the recording to send it to my podcast producer?
Yeah, I'm just gonna record it on my computer, and then I'll Google Drive it to you.
Yep, that is the way.
Oh yeah, Facebook's gonna record it too, but that's kind of garbage. So, all right, boom. Let's hit the live button.
Cool.
Do. I
I'd be
hope
like,
it stalls out now.
yeah, I
Ooh,
was gonna say,
it gives a warning now. It says this meeting is being live streamed. It's like,
right.
and it gives you the
Oh.
chance to bail. Gives you the chance to bail, just in case
Danger
you're like,
time.
oh no. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bookkeeping Beer and BS. It's Wednesday night, so this is what we do. I got Nathan Young in the house tonight, a new buddy of mine, and comes with tons of marketing skill sets and knowledge, and super fun guy to talk to, and has his own podcast, the Home Service Leaders Podcast. And so Nathan and I are gonna host each other, and this is both Bookkeeping Beer and BS and the Home Service Leaders Podcast. Nathan, you do your Home Service Leaders intro now, so we can both be hosts and not like a guest and a host. It'll be host.
So normally we would have this bumper that plays that like has cool music and stuff, but that obviously didn't happen right. So we'll pretend that happened, and then normally I would open up and say, hey, this is Nathan Young, founder of More Leads Online and your host of the Home Service Leaders Podcast. I'm here today with Dan Plata, and he is one of the founding members of Blue Skies, which is a whole collaboration of companies like, because you do a shit ton of things. Also, I swear a lot on my podcast.
Yeah, same here. Good.
Okay, cool. We're in the same vein then. You have a cleaning business. You have basically like a taking care of other people's business. You do bookkeeping. You talk about bookkeeping. You do a whole host of things. And normally I would say, Dan, who are you and how did you get here? Because I can tell your story for people, but it's cooler when you tell your story. So that's what I would swap. I also want to know what you're drinking, because you always hide your drinks in a koozie.
I usually do because I like my beers better cold. This is a Surly Screen Time. It's pretty
nice.
trippy.
You got a Surly.
I got a Surly, and then I got two Summits in my hand. This is my Bookkeeping Beer and BS cooler. I have two rhetorical questions for you as we get started. You know how like you acquire those things through non-purchases and you don't know how you acquired them, you just win them? One time in college, I won a pair of shorts. This time I won a cooler. I don't know whose cooler this is, but I won it fair and square because it ended up at my house and it's been here for a couple of years and it works great for Bookkeeping Beer and BS. That's my like rhetorical question. Like, do you know? Have you ever won anything in that sort of way?
I don't think that I've ever, well, in that sort of way, yes. I've won a lot of things that I have apparently finders keepers to someone.
It's a good win.
I also I am that guy who like I borrow shit and forget that and so I may have just low-key stolen a lot of things on accident. Like
I got it. I got you.
I swear it's not perfect. It's not malicious. It's just me being ignorant and forgetful. Like I apologize to anyone who might hear me someday and be like, yo, you still have that thing.
Oh, I started playing something that I didn't mean to play. So check this out. Have you seen my intro video? You've got like your intro thing. I don't I have an intro video, but I find if I go live on Facebook, it like gets all trippy because it's trying to do like too much. And so it gets choppy. So I can't like play my intro video right at the darn intro. I gotta pull it up on my phone right now and like I'm gonna share this to my thing. Share to my feed. Nicholas Haskell says, "What's going on? What's up, Nicholas? Been a while since I heard from the Nicholas Haskell. How's the dumpster, the garbage can game going, Nicholas?" Gene O'Neill in the house, one of my favorite fishermen on the planet. Gonna see Gene at the Huge next week. He'll be down there.
I've seen Gene commenting on a lot of these live streams. That's a funny dude.
I like Gene a lot. He's good shit. All right. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do check this out. We're gonna go this way. We're gonna do a share sound. We're gonna share screen 2. gonna open this right out of Google Drive and see how we do.
Dan, wake up. Dan, why are you sleeping?
On screen.
There's people out there that don't know their numbers. They didn't even
Oh wow, that
split
cut
up
right
their
off.
interest in their principal on their loans. They don't even check their balance sheet. They're not even set up as an S corp.
Debits, credits.
Actually, you want to know what? This isn't even the right intro video.
They're not even set up
There's
as
a-
an S corp.
There's an intro, final. I was like, man, the music sounds different. Yeah, they're not even set up as an S corp. Here we go. This is the right one. We shortened it up.
We got work to do. These people gotta know their numbers. Let's go, baby. Debits, credits, P&Ls, profit and loss, balance sheet. Gotta make money.
Beautiful day to be out on the water. Wi-Fi's a little spotty though.
Yeah, honey, I'm doing it. I got the dishes.
It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
Yeah,
Boom.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty great.
I like that. I had a lot of fun getting the green screen into the boat in the driveway. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. That was I got some looks. The
I
name
was like,
some looks.
wait, that's obviously a backdrop, but I feel like he's really in a boat, and then it just keeps zooming out.
Like it gets way out, and then you can see like the whole neighborhood, and it's just like clearly a green screen on a boat. But for the sake of keeping it short and sweet, what else? Oh, my other rhetorical question for you: you ever eat a taco?
Yes.
Yeah, you have. Does
Yeah,
it
you're right.
happen to you? Does it happen to you when you eat tacos that you end up eating like too many every time?
That used to be true, specifically because we had what we called Taco Tuesday. That was like it was like a thing, because I lived in this town in Northwest Indiana, and we lived right next to one of those like little like legit Hispanic.
Yeah, like a real place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like when you see the word taquiera, that's literally what it was. Like I wasn't for pretend. And so they would have dollar taco night on Tuesdays. And these were like legit actual, like they're real tacos. They're not American tacos. And
They're
so
not
we
Taco
would
Bell
go-
tacos.
Exactly. These are not Taco Bell tacos. These were, Jose made these with love, and I loved him for making them. And we would get 40, and we would just be like, okay, whoever wants to come over can come over. It's Taco Tuesday. And sometimes we had people come over, and I ate an appropriate amount of tacos. And sometimes not as many people showed up, and maybe 2 was not the right number. Maybe it was 4 too many tacos.
Yeah. I do this thing for many reasons. I can't have nice things, and I prefer a crunchy taco. But if I eat a crunchy taco, there's going to be a disproportionate amount that ends up on my lap or on my face or whatever. So I've just owned that. I can't eat a taco without making a mess of it. So now I just break it all right from the get-go, and I basically end up with like a taco salad on my plate. But it's like the first one overflows the entire plate, and I'm full. But I freaking love tacos so much that I'm like, I'll just have a little bit more. But the thing when you break your taco apart, and it's not like a confined space that your taco is in. I'm glad we're hitting this, by the way. This is like super important business stuff. There's probably a lesson in here somewhere. When it's a taco salad style, it's like I crumble some chips, and then I put some meat on top of that, and then like some tomatoes and some green peppers. I can throw cucumbers on it. We got cucumbers coming out of the garden, throw some cucumbers on there, some black olives, some corn, some lettuce, some whatever. And all of a sudden this thing that was like, I just want a little bit more, turns into like a damn full plate full. And so if I'm like, like burping whatever up over here, it's that second taco salad that I just had that was so good, but so unnecessary.
That makes sense. I did not have that happen. But I totally understand when you accidentally turn having 2 tacos into having 2 full plates of nachos.
That's exactly what just happened. Yeah, let's have tacos tonight. Let's have just a little bit more.
Right. I am. So I found these, which is a Stiegel Radler. And if you've never had a Radler, just like imagine a Shandy, but then like 50% better than that. In my personal opinion.
Yeah. What's like? I've had a Shandy, and it's kind of like a juicy beer, not like a juicy IPA beer, but just like I don't know, a juicy ale maybe. Where does a Radler go different?
You've had a cider, right?
I've had a cider. I've had a Radler too, but it's been a bit. So I need it.
Okay.
I feel like it's more carbonated, maybe a little more carbonated.
I would say yes, it's definitely more carbonated. I would say like if you're really looking for like a lighter something or other, so you're like going for the Shandy, and then you're like, maybe I should ice my Shandy even. Maybe I like, right, and then you're
Like
getting that
increase
far.
the refreshness level.
Correct. Yep. But I still want a beer. If you are at that level of being like, I want a beer, but I really want just something nice to sit outside, because obviously and so that's a Radler.
I got it. That sounds delicious. I just got 3 IPAs sitting next to me, so I got like the opposite thing. I'm gonna be thirsty. I'm gonna be thirstier when I'm done with these 3 beers.
Normally, it's either for me, it's this guy, something like that, or I want that like double imperial coffee oatmeal stout. Like I want to eat.
Yeah, go big time. You want to eat it? Yeah.
I want to have to chew my drink.
I like it. There was a beer. At some point we'll get like to business and marketing stuff, but no hurry. There was a beer back in my college days. I studied abroad in England, and we took a trip over to Wales, and they had a beer called Brains. And my best explanation of it, it was like eating a loaf of rye bread. It was just a meal in and of itself, and it was like you could chew it, and it was so fulfilling and delicious. It was like not rye bread if you don't like rye bread. That's just, it was dark, so like rye bread's the bread that I think of, but it was like drinking a loaf of bread with alcohol in it. It was like, I don't know how many carbs were in that beer, but it had to be 200 plus. It was phenomenal. What do we got? Who's chiming in here? I'm looking at the feed. Nicholas Haskell says he's branching out into some commercial pressure washing. Awesome. Nicholas, you going to the Huge? Am I going to see you next week? Nathan, you're out, right? You're not at the Huge?
That is correct. Wifey conversation. And so that's a negative from me.
Everybody understands that.
That's right. Happy wife, happy life. And I want to live that out. And so Dave Sage will be at the Huge with you guys. I just booked his rooms and his flight today.
Oh yeah,
on the company, and
nailed it.
And so we're really excited, and he showed us. He's got a big old banner. It's got a big MLO thing on it, and it says the words home services on it like 16 times, just so nobody's confused.
It's like keyword repping keywords,
right? I was like, Dave, there's no such thing as in real life SEO, yeah? And he was like, nah.
I like it. Let's see here. What do we got? Gene O'Neill said that's his end game. Loves the barter system, the great loophole of taxation. I feel like they're catching on to that a little bit, but it's almost like operating in cash in a way. Austin Douglas says my Mexican family would disown you for liking a hard shell taco. I don't I know that corn tortillas are like the Mexican thing, and I'm just not like, I love corn chips, but I don't like corn tortillas. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, I know there's a lot of things wrong with me, so we don't need to like dive into that too much. I don't know what is wrong with me. I just know that there's some stuff wrong with me.
You've had, just to sideline that though, you've had like a legit, like you have to double wrap the corn tortilla. It's like carnitas all in there, cilantro, onion, like legit, like tomatillo sauce, like that taco.
Yeah.
And you're not a fan. Flour tortilla for you.
I mean, I'm a fan of the idea of it. It's the corn tortilla that I don't like as much. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It might not be a 10 in my book, but it's not like a, oh no, thank you. It's like a, yeah, I'll take 3 more. But if it was in a wheat tortilla, I would like it more.
All right.
It's almost like I'm just like the white bread little bitch. It's like give me the peanut butter and jelly with the Wonder Bread. You know, that's kind of like what I feel like when I say those things. I like Rob Anderson said dough tacos, which usually I call it tac-doughs because like everything in my house is venison. So if we're having sloppy joes, it's sloppy doughs because everything is a dough, or dough goes better than buck. I'm not gonna, for obvious reasons. So we didn't have tac-doughs tonight though, because my wife bought some like ground turkey for something. And after like 5 days of it just hanging out in the fridge, because what the hell are you going to do with ground turkey? We had ground turkey tacos. So they weren't like, I don't know why I went back for that second one. They weren't even tac-doughs. They were ground turkey tacos, which is like, it was. So to Austin's point earlier, like I'm like double disowned now. Like what the hell is a ground turkey taco? It's not even a real thing. I might as well be on a diet. Rob Anderson sent me a beer pick. Have you had? Let me see here. I gotta get into that screen, Rob. It is a Wooded Reserve. See ya. Oh, come on. Wooded Reserve. It's not focusing very well on it, but
I see it.
There we go. That's a little better. Alcohol by volume, 13.9%. Aged 9 months in some kind of rye barrels. 100 cases made.
Peace out, Gene.
That's pretty hoity-toity there, Rob. I dig it. Doop, doop, doop. All right. Says Turcos. So let's talk some business stuff. So for those that don't know, Nathan and I are like partnering together because at Blue Skies, we've got all this recruiting and bookkeeping stuff. And for a long time, we've been saying we're going to do digital marketing at some point. But we just need like these guys that have some expertise that can come in and like help our client base and help with all the digital marketing stuff. Nathan's got a company that does digital marketing. Is like, hey, we got to partner with the right type of people and like get this thing out to the masses. And Nathan and I live approximately 7 minutes. You've driven it before, I haven't yet. So are we 7 minutes apart?
7 minutes, yeah.
Is that if you hit the stoplight or if you don't hit the stoplight?
If you don't hit the stoplight.
Okay.
Yeah, good call.
There's a stoplight at Greenhaven that if you hit it, I've never hit it. I've never once hit the stoplight at Greenhaven.
I only have to make right turns. And then the one stoplight in between us, I have also never actually had to stop there. There's never been anybody like coming out of the. So yeah, as far as I can tell, and I have no idea if this gets me into trouble with anyone, but I go to Starbucks like almost every day. It's just like how I get
Starbucks, but that Starbucks has a long line there. Is it the one by my house that you go to right off the highway?
Yeah.
That thing gets backed up. Are you the one placing the big order that backs that line up like 10 cars?
Yeah, every time, $100 a day. No, I get there at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm gone by 8:30 by the time it actually starts to like have other people in there.
Yeah.
It's just like this conversation about tacos and beer is the longest I've ever gone since I like started doing business stuff, not talking about business things. And
set a new record.
Yeah, 17 minutes is as long as I've ever gone with a break in between. So I basically like your intro was funny because you like rolled out of bed and the whole joke is that you had your laptop in bed with you. But that literally
that's not a joke. That's
right. That's not a joke. So I roll out of bed 6 o'clock in the morning and grab my backpack, get in my car, get to Starbucks and start working within like 15 minutes. And until I brain dump everything that's going on, I'm not ready to like start the day. It takes me 2.5 hours of like doing work immediately when I open my eyes to finally be like, okay, today's might be okay. Like, so anyway, I've traveled this road a whole bunch of times and I can say it's 7 minutes.
7 minutes. In your defense, you were, as you like introduced me for your show, you have an equal amount of stuff going on within MLO, which I don't know. I think we said more leads online, but if I say MLO, y'all, I'm talking about more leads online, which is Nathan's digital marketing business. But you also are an integrator for a CPA firm and helping them with their strategy. There's another thing you have going on that I'm like blanking on, but I know you're on somebody else's payroll as well. What is that? What else? What's the third one that I'm missing?
Yeah, so I work for a guy we're developing different pieces of technology for the city of St. Paul effectively to do like community engagement or to connect like young people between like 15 and 24 with different resources to help them like level up their life in the community. And so it just, I needed something that I was like, this is the thing that I can do to know I'm making a difference other than, I don't know, doing literally anything in the home services and the trades feels like we're impacting the world in some significantly good way, even if we're making a bunch of money from it, if we have that opportunity. But yeah, I felt like I needed to get involved in community around the city where we just moved to. And so that's the other thing I do. So yeah, I have 3 jobs.
I like it. I used to do a ton of volunteering with Junior Achievement, which is all about financial literacy and helping students, like elementary through high school, see the value of entrepreneurship and or just like the business world in general, and understanding how the world works. And I used to do a ton of that. And now it's like, it ends up getting like put to the back burner. So I need to like, and COVID really screwed it up because like you go into classrooms to volunteer and stuff like that. And that was hard to do in the last year. So I need to re-engage. Let's hit on some marketing stuff here, because that's as a finance nerd, marketing is the one, like I've got some principles in business that I always like to go back to. And when I'm working with our bookkeeping clients and they're like, where am I off on my P&L? We break P&Ls down into 5 simple groups: cost of goods sold for production stuff, admin overhead for office related stuff, fixed overhead for infrastructure stuff, variable overhead for like frugality, investments, repairs and maintenance, stuff like that. And then marketing is like the 5th bucket, any lead creating investment. And everybody's like worried about how much they spend on each bucket, which they should be. But marketing is the one where I'm like, yeah, set a budget so you roughly know how much you're going to spend. But don't feel bad if you overspend it. And if you don't have the capacity or if the acquisition cost isn't right, don't spend it. Like it's not about the budget. That's just to estimate roughly how much you're going to spend. And it's more like your marketing budget is more about how much you're going to do in sales. Like your marketing is the thing that you start budgeting with because it's the thing that's going to drive your sales. So I tend to look at marketing as like there's no wrong number. Keep spending money on marketing as long as it keeps generating a positive return to you. How do you, like Nathan, when you guys are talking to either clients or prospective clients, how do you help them figure out how much to like spend on their marketing? And I'll get to like where to spend it next. So let's not hit that yet. But like, How do you help them define how much to spend when you're engaging with somebody?
This is a great question. It's one of the great unanswered questions, right? Like, because we're going to get into an infinite fight about this. So I had Al Levy. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's the author of the 7-Power Contractor.
Okay.
And I'm like a Traction EOS guy. Like my title is integrator. I'm all about that life. But 7-Power Contractor and Traction, I don't know if anybody's familiar with either one, but that I kept telling him on the podcast, do you understand that you wrote Traction for home service companies? Like that's what you did. And he was like, I don't know anything about it. He was just trying to avoid a copyright lawsuit on there.
Never heard of it. Don't know anything about Traction. Gino Wickman, never heard of him.
I have no idea who that guy is. Quit bringing it up. So I asked him about it, and I asked him like really specifically because he talks about budgeting in as being one of the 7 powers, like finances being one of the 7 powers.
Mhm.
And he basically says if you're not spending 4% on your marketing, like you are, but you aren't recognizing it on your P&L. So because the answer is always you're going to pay for it. It's a question of time or dollars,
Mhm.
right? So it's not a question of whether you're going to pay for it, because like you calling your friend or you answering all those calls that are sort of like referrals, and some of them are good and some of them are not, and whatever, or you doing those jobs for your friends who that's going to get you to the next, right? Like that's marketing, because you're taking a bunch of your time and you're investing it into your branding, into your reputation, whatever. So you're either going to pay for it with dollars or time. Al basically said, if you're not spending at least 4%, like you're dead. And realistically, you're going to be spending it because you're probably just doing it with your time.
Mhm. Yep.
And then the great debate is, assuming that you're at least meeting the baseline, whether it's time or dollars or whatever, then it's a question of how much do you want to grow? So if you're not looking to grow at all, like let's say you're absolutely at your capacity, you really are like, I have 5 guys, I have 1 guy, I have 20 guys, it doesn't matter. I have lots of people, right person, right seat. I'm not interested in hiring right now. I just want to get through the next 6 months, the next season. I don't want to think about it. Then you need to maintain, right? Like, okay, it's a season of maintenance. You're probably going to sit around that 4 to 6% number pretty happily and just continue managing your reputation. Again, I don't know whether that's dollars or time, but probably around that. If you're actually looking for growth, I mean, if you want to get like more brand recognition, if you actually want to get, I know you call it proactive and reactive. I just call it long and short-term ROI.
Okay.
I think we're saying the same thing with slightly different words, but
Yeah.
if you're into a season of growth, you might be spending 20, 30% on marketing, right? The whole idea is that it's something that is going to bring you to a next level. And that's why you're investing in it. It's, you know, this, like, and we'll talk about this in methods of marketing, but it's not always a turn of like, I'm going to invest $1 and I'm going to get $10 back. There's a lot of it that's, yeah, that might be true over time, but in the super short term, it's a lot more ethereal than that. It's one of those things you have to put in and know that you're going to reap the rewards later on. Sales guys, you know, we talk about all the time, like fill the funnel. Like you got to fill the funnel. It takes sales guys so long to like fill the funnel, and then things start being more consistent. So anyway, I would say maintenance, if you're running at 5%, whether it's money or time, and if you want to get growth, you're all the way up to 20 to 30% probably.
Yeah. I tend to see different industries can be a little bit different depending on if it's one-time service type of stuff versus recurring service type of stuff. Recurring services seem to be able to, well, I don't know if it's be able to spend a little bit less or just don't spend quite as much, because recurring services generally have a little bit lower margin structure, and therefore like a bigger dollar per client, don't need to spend from a percentage standpoint, don't need to spend as much. Need to spend, I'm like talking in circles, need to spend more per client, but as a percent of revenue is less, versus one-time services can generally spend a little bit less per client, as a percent of the revenue is more. But when you have to go kill a new, like go hunting and kill something new every day and bring it back to the cave, you're willing to spend more on marketing to go get that next client. I tend to see from a bookkeeping standpoint, similar to what you said, like 5% you're not growing. 10% you're starting to get there, but the bigger your business gets, the higher your percentage needs to get to, because you have more natural attrition. And so people are dying, people are moving, whatever the case is, it helps to be spending more because you have to keep up with just more people leaving. We shoot for 15%, but I'm not disappointed if we spend 20. As long as our acquisition cost doesn't suck. If we spend 20% and get nothing for it, that's a problem. Likewise, if we spend 20% and totally kick ass, like why did I only spend 20%? I should have spent 25% because as long as every time I spent the money, I got the return for it, like keep priming that pump. So let's go to the what now. So that's like the how much, somewhere, 5 to 25%. And that's, you're on the spectrum of like how much you want to grow and how aggressive you want to get. What are the things, let me see how I want to throw this out there. What are the things that you like, you have to be doing, or the first thing that you should do? And I don't know if it's like this group of things, do this group of things, do if you can, or have the financial wherewithal to do it, or if it's like a priority list. How do you decide what order and which things like have to get done from a marketing perspective first?
That's a great question. It's a huge question.
Yeah, I know. That's why I sucked at asking it.
It's like, I was like, oh my God, he wants me to give a marketing like 401 course in 5 minutes.
Is it well, and it like maybe another element of it, just like, let me confuse it even more, is it might be different by customer, by geography, by industry type of stuff too. So there's probably plenty of caveats in it, but like somebody that's let's paint a picture with it. Somebody that's like new is maybe a solopreneur, maybe a solopreneur with a helper, like, trying to start scaling, has used word of mouth and maybe flyers so far. But like maybe hasn't invested a lot in a website, isn't doing the Google stuff, isn't doing the Facebook stuff yet, isn't doing media contracts or anything like that. Just like word of mouth, door knocking, maybe a flyer or two. Like if they're going to scale, how do you start approaching their marketing game plan?
So that's a great question. I have relevant experience in this. I started with 2 other guys. I started a roofing company that my only job was to be the marketer. And so I have some experience in this, like firsthand. Also, my brother and I worked for my brother for a little while. So I was like a bricklayer. So for a while we were union and I was journeyman. I became a journeyman. I was apprentice and then became a journeyman. And then, but we left the union and whatever anybody has any, he still goes back and forth, does some union work and not whatever. But so I've done this a few times as far as like, oh, I have to start a brand new company, potentially in the trades or home services. What do I do? And so the first question really is like, what do I think are table stakes? Right. So for me, table stakes where you're going to put any dollars that you have is you need to look professional. So somehow consistently, like, I don't care if that's an iron-on t-shirt, like get your iron-ons. You know what I mean? Like how much does it cost to get an iron-on t-shirt? And the answer is like $20, right? And you can make a few of them. So when you get gross at the end of the day, you can swap the next day. But the answer is that, like, your very first thing is you're in people's houses, you're at people's doors, you're whatever. Table stakes, look like you belong there without freaking them out.
I like look past that one. When I think about marketing, I look past presentation. It may be just like assuming that everybody's doing that, but that's a really good point. You don't show up. Our first employee when we bought Blue Skies window washing was a big old boy, and showed up with a t-shirt that said, "This is my beer drinking shirt." And that was how he would show up at customers' homes to clean their windows. A cut off t-shirt that literally said, "This is my beer drinking shirt." That was his work outfit.
Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of guys out there who have fantastic reputations who can get this done all day long. I follow this guy, Jeff Dem HVAC on Instagram. And like, this guy is wearing hoodies and jeans to customers' houses, and he is fucking crushing it. I mean, like, his work is fantastic. I see his stuff and I'm like, this is amazing. He's got fantastic reviews. I'm not saying you can't pull it off, but I am saying like, it's such a low bar to get over. Just clear the bar. Like, it really should be table stakes. And the next one is what everyone I think understands at this point, which is get your Google My Business set up,
which
Get a
is like
one-page website.
which is pretty much free, right? GMB is free.
It's
Just start.
completely free.
Yeah.
Totally free. So if you don't, I mean, like, just set it up. It doesn't. You don't actually have to. You don't actually have to like have your home address on it, right? You can set up a service type GMB. It can be on your location. You have to actually verify it. Google's getting even more like stickler about sending that postcard, but you don't have to show your location to, you don't have to show your location to the world, right? It can be a service area and it's free. Like, and it takes 10 minutes to set up. You don't have to go to the nines on it. Just get the basics there because you need to get that. You need to get at least like a one-page website that just confirms that you do what you do, right? And then you need to start collecting reviews. Like that's table stakes.
Because I have seen some businesses that don't do a website. They basically just use Facebook like a website. Have you seen anybody that ran that show?
Yeah. So the thing I always say, I like telling stories. So my dad is 75. So like my life experience in small businesses long, because of stories. And he still uses a paper file management system. Right? Like he knows how to turn on the TV, and that's as far as his tech savvy goes. If the system works
did he have you as a child so that you could be his IT person?
Oh yes.
My parents joke about that all the time. They're like, I think we gotta have another kid. Like, I don't know how to work on any of this shit.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I was building our first website when I was like 14. And that, like, when I was 14, that was shit. I'm not going to talk about that. That was a long time ago. And, like nobody knew what they were doing. So even though I was 14 and I was an idiot, it was incredible. It was brand new tech.
I'm going to date you a little bit. That was when Yahoo was like more popular than Google, probably.
It was definitely when Yahoo was more popular than Google. 100%.
That's how long ago that was.
Yes. It was. Here's how far back it was. Our town, the town that I grew up in, which is kind of a shitty town, and I think so. But our town, 30,000 people total. They thought they could make a town-based platform that could compete with like Yahoo and MSN because it was that early on.
Yeah.
Like,
let's go for it. Let's get in this game. Everybody's doing it.
Right. Exactly. They're like, we're going to replace all of this crazy, like little league advertising in the newspaper bullshit. We're going to have the freaking town website, and that's going to be the place everybody goes. And I was like, I didn't know any better. I was like, all right, that sounds cool. Sure.
Sounds neat.
Yeah. Now I know that was freaking retarded. Anyway, so that's the what were we saying? Your GMB is free, your website is so easy. Oh, you're saying some people have skipped the whole website route and they've just gone.
Yeah, just like had a Facebook page that they kind of use like a website. I mean, I still think GMB is a no-brainer. Like Google's where people go. But
right. So I told the story about my dad to basically say, if the system is working for you, use the thing that you're familiar with and works for you. I tell people all the time, like, look, if you're really fantastic at getting referrals and like it's just part of who you are, and like you're really you find a way to like really get that going, and it's just easy for you, like just stick to that, right? Like pick your channel and be great at it. So if you're great at Facebook, like just be great at Facebook, then that's fantastic. I have very little interest in Facebook myself personally. I don't spend a lot of time on it. LinkedIn is where I spend most of my, like, if I'm going to invest in like social time, I spend my social media time on LinkedIn, which is not very much time, but that like, so I think just stick to what you know and get really good at it. Don't spread yourself thin. Again, you're paying for it in time or money. So if you're trying to manage 15 different platforms, like you're probably paying that 30%, but you're just scattershotting it.
Yep. That's I'll say in our marketing strategies over time, where we've tended to, and part of the reason I was like leading you towards a hierarchy of like do this and then put your money and time into that. Where I've gone wrong in our home service businesses, window cleaning, home cleaning, pressure washing, is rather than going deep in something and like exhausting it, getting spread too thin and not getting much of anything for anything. It just seems in marketing, not that you shouldn't diversify and be in multiple places, but do the thing that's working until it like hits the point of diminishing returns where like the next investment in it isn't as beneficial as like what you could do to go over to the next place. Like maximize the effectiveness of something before you start diversifying. I do like having digital stuff, and I think about recruiting the same way. We have our recruiting business and we do digital recruiting for people. If they just depend on digital recruiting and like aren't handing out business cards and aren't talking to people at restaurants and aren't making their own Facebook posts and like aren't engaging with the community, their digital recruiting is not going to work as well. Just like your website's not going to work as well if you're not out there doing more things leading people back to it. But like go deep on something before you start spreading yourself too thin and getting marginal returns on a whole bunch of things. Like keep throwing your fastball until it's not going as fast anymore.
Almost everyone who's like a quote expert on like a platform, right? Again, I spend my time on LinkedIn, and so I see lots of LinkedIn experts talking about LinkedIn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, one thing that they'll tell you is that, look, the community around platforms changes day by day. And so you really need to invest yourself there, because if you're trying to pay attention to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things, and then you come back and you're doing the same thing you were doing a month ago, like the platform has moved on. The community in that platform has moved on. They're interested in other stuff now. And the same tactics just don't work anymore. The same is true, again, like I'm an SEO guy. Like I've been doing web design and SEO I've been doing web design for like freaking 16 years. But I've been doing SEO stuff for a decade now. And so like, I'm a hardcore nerd when it comes to this, but like in the last 4 months, Google rolled out, right? Like this is for your GMB, like they rolled out all of these service types.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like your primary service that your industry type, but then you have all of these like different service, like a menu selection that you can choose. And like for doctors, you can select what types of things you provide, and then what like insurance coverage that you actually allow, and you can sync those two things. So you can be like,
well, nice.
You can be capturing something that's like, podiatry, Blue Cross, right? And you can set up your GMB to be like, yeah, we do podiatry services and we specifically accept Blue Cross Blue Shield for that. Like that's all a thing that exists within GMB now.
Wow.
That just happened in the last 4 months.
We do pressure washing and we accept check or credit card.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like that level, even at that level, right? So the platform changes. It all goes back to the exact same thing. If you're gonna invest your time into Facebook, like just invest into Facebook. You're gonna get a lot more bang for your buck if you're just genuinely interacting, if you're consistently posting, if you're treating the platform like the platform is built to be.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a bunch out of it. So I want to say one caveat to this whole conversation is to actually go back to what you were saying about proactive and reactive. And I think this is true in general, but so I call it long-term and short-term ROI. I think it's always good to be running something in both. So I'm like, well, when do you need cash? Do you need cash next week? Then you need a short-term ROI. That your short-term ROI can be as simple as like call somebody or text them, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's hit a list of like short-term ROI things you can do. And as I've talked about in the past, I feel like there's like real short-term ROI things, and then it starts to get to like a little like things that wouldn't be long-term ROI but are somewhere in between, and then longer-term ROI stuff. So like let's kind of lay that spectrum out. What's like the shortest term ROI thing, and then let's start working towards a longer-term ROI type of stuff. What's the shortest, like quickest punch ticket type of right now ROI?
Oh, I mean, ask your friends and family, right? Like that'll never die. Just like ask the people around you. Literally ask. Just say, hey, I have free time. I'm trying to get this work done. Do you know anybody who could use that? Right? Like that's super short-term ROI. Literally text people, DM people, whatever. If you have
your
list,
investment is just your time and figuring out what to say and ask the question.
Yeah, the more connected the relationship is, the more it should be time instead of dollars.
Okay, got it.
That's actually sense. Just like a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, I like that.
So the other thing is short-term ROI, when it's not time, costs a lot of profit, usually. Right? Short-term ROI things. So like a list of things would be like discounts are a short-term ROI turn, right? Like you're trying to get that sale made. So ads are one of the things that goes into that, but I consider ads more of a channel. So like you can say whatever you want in an ad. So maybe you run a discount or sale or special or whatever. That's all like you're chopping technically profit margin off of that in order to get a quicker turn.
Yeah.
So calling is good, texting is good, literally talking to people. I love email. Again, it's one of those like I know you because I know your email and your name.
The quickest one is relationships that you already have. Whether like figure out how they communicate and whether you hit them on Facebook or whether you hit them with a voicemail bomb or a text blast or an email blast, like leverage your existing relationships.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the shortest term ROI thing you can do. Then you have stuff like running sales within ads or whatever. You can put up signs, that's fine. But it's all about that short-term turn as far as like let people know that there's some scarcity, there's some time. It's a timed window, right? Like, hey, we need to Memorial Day sale or whatever. And yeah, I kind of stay with ads as being like one of the best thing. And it doesn't matter what platform, whether that's Google paid search or Google LSAs or Facebook or whatever, pick your ad platform. It's something that you can go, I want this, and you can slam money down and have ads running.
Yep.
And get some conversions that way.
Yeah. It like from an effectiveness standpoint, it seems to me, and you may disagree with this, I tend to see, Google ads works the best just in that people freaking go to Google to look for stuff. Facebook ads, a little more spotty. Home Advisor, Thumbtack, Angie's List in different markets can work okay. Yelp on the West Coast works. And I'm nobody that's outside of California, Washington, Oregon, like that I know of, and comment if you're different. But I don't know anybody outside of those three states that's like, hell yeah, Yelp is crushing it for me. LinkedIn possibly. Like there's a lot of different places to run ads, and every platform kind of has their own different thing. And some work for some people, some don't work. I don't like Google because you're paying per click and they're generally like interested in you, like they're clicking on your damn name. They seem to convert pretty well, and you can control the price. Like you can just be like, all right, I'm going to stop paying at that amount for click. Whereas like Home Advisor, you're competing with however other many people they sent that lead to. Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that doesn't always convert as well. There's people that have great luck with it and do well, but
I know I conspicuously left out Angie's List, Home Advisor, House. I don't think House is quite as trashy as that yet, but I like really intentionally leave out platforms like that because it's another one where I think if you're willing to really dedicate your time to slog through it, like you can make money. I just talked to a general contractor on the West Coast who was like, yeah, well, we use Home Advisor still. We know it's garbage. We have to go through 30 conversations in order to actually get one job.
Mhm.
But they're doing home renos that are worth 40, 50 grand.
I was
So
gonna
they're
say
like,
it's worth a couple
Yeah.
$1,000 to get that client.
yes, exactly. And so they're paying for it, they're paying for it a little bit in money, but they're mostly paying for it in time, and it's still washing out really well for them.
Yep. Yeah, if your average job size is 200, 300, $400, you probably don't want to be paying Home Advisor any money for those leads.
Right. Exactly. It's no, don't. Well, and the other thing is you're going to pay twice, right? Because not only are you going to actually pay for the ad cost, but it's getting shopped to at least 5 other companies. And we know that they recycle leads. So who knows? I mean, like at this point, you might be the 17th person in, like, whatever. So anyway, I just don't talk about those almost at all. I think we all know that they exist, and we all know that it's sort of like your mileage may vary, but
investment of last resort. Like, we got money, and let's see, like maybe everybody else stopped using them now, and so if we start using them now, we'll be the only ones left. So like you go from the spend money, get lead to things like flyers, yard signs, maybe radio ads or TV ads where you can have the classic like offer, call to action and deadline, like you were saying, like something that gets some mojo going. I kind of put those, they're not like super reactive or super short-term ROI, but they're maybe like like right after those like direct ads. They're kind of like the next thing to try to pull a lever faster. They don't react quite as fast, but in weeks or maybe a month or two, it seems like they can start driving behaviors. So it seems, I don't know if you agree with that, or you put something in between like direct ads versus those type of a little bit slower ads.
I think that's possible, but I think remembering that levers exist is really important. So what I mean by that is like, you can run a paid search ad. Anybody can do that. Well, you can write a garbage paid search ad, right? And then it doesn't matter how much money you put behind it, it's going to be garbage. And same deal with like, I think, so I would say yes to what you're saying, except remember that you're sort of like using the lever of your brand for those things. So invariably, I think yard signs are fantastic as long as they're well branded. Because we've all seen like the "We Buy Houses Quick," and it's literally just like fucking black Sharpie.
Yeah, it's somebody that like wrote on just a piece of cardboard and stuck it on a stake and threw it in there. And they must be working because I keep seeing them.
They're not working. I'm telling you, they're not fucking working.
Are they just the most resilient bastards on the planet, or what?
It's one of those things that just won't die, right? Like it's
like the Terminator. You're talking about the Terminator.
Well, yeah, but it's fucking cold calling for insurance sales. Like you, on some level, there's like a floor, right? And you can't go below the floor, and everyone's gonna tell you forever that, oh, how do you get started in insurance sales? Well, the easiest fucking thing is literally to grab a phone book and just pick up the phone. And that advice just won't fucking die, even though we all want to shoot that person.
Good point. Nobody likes that cold call.
Right. And so those stupid signs in the middle of the road just won't fucking die, even though like, nobody is calling those. It's like dark now. It's a lot brighter on that side to my face than it is. I feel like everything's bright. It looks like I'm sitting out in the middle of the night.
It's
anyway.
badass. It's a badass look.
Yeah,
You're going
thanks.
vampire. You're going vampire mode.
With my night vision. But yeah, so like, no, those are bullshit. And the other thing too is they drag down your brand. So like, again, it's the difference between this is my beer drinking shirt and at least having some ironed on logo. If you stick one of those yard signs out there, it doesn't matter what kind of ROI maybe it sits in. It's not a good look, period. It just drags you down all the way. This is why you never see logos and shit on those things.
I've seen a couple good ones with logos on them, and I appreciate the effort. I do know plenty of people that they convert really well for, not higher ticket stuff, like less than $1,000 average ticket type of stuff.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't saying just like yard signs, period, but like the middle of the highway stuff.
The stuff written in a Sharpie.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to get at is I agree with you. I do think those sit between short and long term. So like midterm, they're very much branding, but because they're branding, you need to treat them as such and like be respectful of the lever. Yep.
I kind of view radio and TV like that. Like we ran a TV ad on Twin Cities Live. I think it went yesterday or the day before. And it's a 4-minute, like, come and see what we're up to. So it doesn't feel like an ad. But at the end of it, it's like, here's the deal that Kahuna is running. And you got to call by this date. You get this price and it's good through the end of August. Like there's always, we still roll in the offer, call to action, and deadline. But then we still get a bunch of calls next month. Just because like I saw you guys, right? So it's like, it definitely is that midterm. We get a bunch of calls the day it runs. But then we also post it on Facebook, and then it's like goes to the website and people, so it's like it has a half-life for a while. All right, so what would be? I mean, we already talked a little bit about SEO and website, and I know that's like your secret sauce. I put that in the long-term stuff, but long-term stuff isn't like long-term, like wait and do that later because it's long-term. Like the long-term stuff to me is more like. You better friggin' start now because it takes a while to get the mojo going from this thing. And once you have it going, it keeps making its own sauce. How, what's all in that long-term bucket in your mind, and how do you kind of prioritize that and figure out when to start and how much to invest and all those sorts of fun things?
I think so I agree. I actually had a conversation today with someone where I was like, look, SEO, especially, I mean, like local SEO is that's a long-term ROI thing. Like that's a little bit like when's the best time to plant a tree 20 years ago or today?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. It's kind of snowbally. I've
never heard anybody say snowbally, but I like it.
Thanks. The other thing, yes, SEO fits in that bucket. It's a long-term ROI thing. I regularly tell people like the ROI curve on SEO is one of the most brutal ROI curves like you'll ever see.
Mm-hmm.
You can get lucky. Obviously, everything is guidance. But like you might, for a decent SEO agency, right? Like I would consider us a good SEO agency while at the same time being like cost effective. But I'm still going to say my numbers and people are going to be like, holy shit. So our average client is paying about $2,000 a month, and they've been
we're paying $2,500 to $3,000 for not you, but that'll change soon. So
okay, all right, good to know. So I tell people, I told the guy this morning, I was like, you're going to invest $2,000 the first month, and you know how much more organic stuff you're going to get? Zero.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to invest $2,000 the second month. And you know how much more organic stuff you're going to get? Probably zero. And the third month, maybe 1 or 2. And I was like, those are going to be the most expensive fucking leads that you've ever had in your whole life. You're going to be like, $6,000 for one lead? This is bullshit. And I'm going to be like, yes, I know. So the curve on, and this is true of this is true of SEO, but it's true of long-term stuff in general. The curve is like massive investment amount.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is you turn the corner and eventually, slowly, it comes down because as you invest more and more and more, the snowball, right, gets bigger and bigger. And we have one company that has been with us paying $2,000 a month for us to like do reporting and recommendations, do GMB optimization, and write content for them and help them get reviews for over 2 years. And now their total lead cost because we report exclusively on like, here's your total organic investment. Here are your manually verified leads. Because we literally like, we do call tracking. We listen. A human listens to every single call to be like, that is a lead, or like, nah, that's Yelp. Delete that. That's not a lead.
That's just an old cat lady. That's just a crazy cat lady.
Right. Yeah. Your grandma called you 3 times today. Those aren't leads. I love, especially total side note, I love that I've seen Yelp reports where they tell you how many leads you got, but then the Yelp guy called you 3 times and they include that in your lead count. Awesome.
Nailed it.
Anyway, so their total organic investment with us, I mean, we're talking 60 grand, right? Over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Versus divided by the total amount of organic leads that they've gotten over that time equates out now to less than $4 a lead. But it took
you can make that work all day.
exactly. And so now they're just like, well, keep it rolling, right? And if they ever want to, if they're like, oh yeah, we could use an extra couple of phone calls each week for the next couple of months, sure, maybe we'll dig into ads some. But that idea of like, here's your organic investment, so it's snowbally. So I would say almost every long-term thing is like that.
Mm-hmm.
To give you like a quick bullet list now that I've set the precedent of sort of the concept, it's SEO is one, and I'm going to choose that because I mean, like one of my favorite
when
ones.
you say SEO, is that basically website? I mean, like, what the words SEO and website get said differently, but seems like it drives the same type of stuff.
No.
Okay.
Man, it's too much to say in there. Reviews, website, your GMB profile. If we're talking exclusively local SEO, let's say reviews, website, we have like a pyramid on our website. Like we have a graphic that's like, here's the lowest hanging shit, and then the stuff you should focus on. And then when you've got that, then you should do this. And then
can you I'm gonna pull up your website, or you can pull it up. Let's show the folks that.
Give me one second.
Send them to your website. I'm gonna put your website in the comments so people can check it out. Anyway.
There should be a chunk on there that says what actually drives leads to your business. And we call it the lead impact pyramid. And this is something that I've actually recently seen from another agency that I have tons of respect for. But it's very similar. Can I share my screen? Is that a thing I can do?
Yes. I just need to make it so that you can.
Cool.
All right. Now you can.
Let me get this bad boy up here.
I like your guys' website, but I'm not surprised since you guys build websites.
It's subjective, but I appreciate that.
I really like Mason. Mason sent me a picture of our new website, and I damn near shit a chicken. I was so pumped.
Nice. One big chicken or 1,000 little?
1,000 duck-sized shit. I don't know.
Shit-sized chickens.
Yeah.
So we call this the lead impact pyramid, and we're basically like, hey, look, this is what actually drives leads in SEO, right? So when we're talking specifically about SEO, we're saying, look, your GMB reviews. Now, some of those are your GMB reviews. Some of those might be your Yelp reviews. Mm-hmm. Your website, your messaging. Because again,
really?
Absolutely. I mean, the words on your website are significant.
I was thinking like messaging, like text messaging, Facebook messaging, that type of messaging. No. Content type of messaging.
Yeah. What you actually say you do.
Yeah.
Site speed and mobile responsiveness, right? Like this is 50% of all of the trust factor, branding factor, all of whatever that goes in SEO. Then you really have like, again, this seems like baseline level shit. Like I don't need an agency to figure this boring ass thing out for me. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's that time to dollars thing again.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, there's nothing that we do that's not free. It's just the time. It's just the time. Except for ads. Those cost money to Google. But FAQ pages, it is shocking to me how few people are just like really great at answering basic questions around their services. Like, lots of people have never bought what you're selling before. And we have lots of questions about how it works, or maybe we've bought it, but we've been in a different state or in a different time of our life or a different house or different whatever. And so I have lots of questions about that. Location-based service pages. This is like bread and butter for SEO. Like, you have this 50% shit knocked down. Like, we're going to go hard on those. And then I think ads and emails. I put ads and emails on the same line. I'm like, if you can send emails, fuck ads. Like, that's a waste of money if you've got emails.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wouldn't emails be hitting people you already know and ads be hitting people you don't know?
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, if you have the opportunity to market closer relationally.
From people who do emails first until you've exhausted them.
Yes, it is so much easier to get more money from people you already have a relationship with, whether that's from them or a referral from them, than it is to put money into the machine to get a new thing to pop out.
Yep. Do you find emails still work as well as they used to, or like do voicemail bombs or like text message blasts convert better?
I think if you add the word blast to anything, it works less.
Well, not like a blast, like, oh, here's a list that I have, I'm going to send it out. But like, oh, here's all of our clients. I'm going to shoot them a quick text message that says, hey, Betty, just checking in because of X, Y, and Z. If it's the same short, like 2-sentence message, text message or email.
If you have permission to text, you should text.
Yeah. That was kind of what I was thinking. It's like, I'm just putting myself in my own damn shoes. Like, if somebody emails me, there's a good chance, like, unless I see it's Nathan, I'm going to be like, okay, like, there's an email. I'm going to keep it unread for an extended period of time until I need to address it. Whereas like a text message, I'm like, who the hell was that?
Yeah. Text messages are going to get read, even if you never open it. I mean, you read the intro thing on your spam text, right? Like, so you've seen at least half of the text if they're decently written, if they're concise. You already read it, even if you didn't open it. And so if you have permission to text, that's key. As long as they're cool with getting texted, like you have their phone number and they gave you their phone number willingly, and text them, and then email them as a backup, and then run ads if you can't do either one of those things.
Or if you've exhausted those things and you're still putting money to work and spending your budget.
Exactly. And so this is our, like, we're really focused on SEO on this. I want to touch a couple other what I think are long-term ROI, but extraordinarily powerful, which basically community management, right? So are you on Nextdoor?
Kind of.
Okay. So like, this is another great, like one way that Facebook still, I think, holds a lot of strength. We have several clients who have their receptionists or some, their spouse or whatever, literally just like jump onto their local Reddit page for their town, or jump into their local moms group, or jump into their, on Facebook, or whatever. There are groups where people are just like asking questions, literally just like this bookkeeping beer and BS group, right? And so just spend time being not a dick and not a sales guy, answer actual questions, do community management. It's a longer term investment. Like, people have to trust you. But once people start trusting you, like, because you've been in there and you've been consistent, I think it produces a striking return. It does take a while though, but I think if I recommended anything long-term ROI, I might actually recommend community management first and then SEO, which is sort of shooting myself in the foot, but I'm willing to do that.
I told you about Go Lead Guys when we were hanging out last time. That was our best ROI. Now, like, they weren't charging us enough, and then they eventually like went too far, but it was basically just influencer marketing. they would be looking for those conversations in Facebook groups and next door groups and whatever. And then they would chime in on your behalf, just like, your significant other would or whatever, whatever it was. But man, there's nothing that converts like a referral. It just converts.
Yeah. We're still people, right? Like no matter what digital shit that we have, like I still want, I don't know. I'm going to trust a guy in a hoodie who has answered my questions on Facebook more than I'm going to trust the guy in the full, like he can come in the wrapped truck with with khakis and the tucked in polo or whatever. And if that person's a stranger and the other guy shows up and is wearing a hoodie, but I already know him from Facebook where he's answered my questions well, I'm going to be cool with that guy.
Yeah, I've got a relationship with him that has some trust because he answered questions and helped me for free. And now he's just coming to help me more instead of coming to sell me something.
Yeah, exactly. So that in the list of long-term ROI things, I would put account management, and then I would put SEO, and then I would put other branding stuff, right? So then the list just goes on, and it starts getting into the classic things like sponsor a little league team, or don't assume they're going to convert, but throw those signs. Make sure you always put a sign in your client's yard, always. If they'll let you put it in there. It's just good branding.
Wrap your truck. It's going to pay off eventually. It's not going to pay off as fast as a quick return thing, but it'll eventually pay off. There's a lot of ways to wrap your truck and get it to pay off. I love like a good wrap design. But I think this is just me personally. I think ego gets put more into that than actual like marketing strategy. It's more of like, it's about us, right? Which is like, it totally is. So it's not a bad thing. But home service business owners love their shit to like, represent them. I don't like Ben's stuff. Ben at Marvel Sewer and Drain, like he's got his superhero thing going on. I like that branding and those wraps. He and I and my brother-in-law Tony went scouting for deer yesterday, and he drove over in one of his company trucks. And some of my neighbors were walking down the street, and it's him as a superhero on the side of his truck, like cartoonified. And like conversation struck up immediately, like, who's that supposed to be? And he's like, well, that was me when I used to work out, blah, blah, blah. Like couldn't help it. And if it was just like my truck was right there with vinyl Blue Skies lettering on it. I'm a simple man. Believe it or not, they didn't ask about Blue Skies. They asked about Marvel with the superhero on it. So there's like some benefit into having like an eye-catching design beyond just our egos that we love them. But it's not going to pay off in the next month or two. It's going to pay off over the next year or two. So if it's money you need now, don't spend $3,000 on a truck wrap. Spend $3,000 on some ads that are going to convert in the next week or two. But anyway,
we literally, we do tracking numbers for lots of different things, and we go out of our way to like do random shit because we know we're trying to build with someone's business, right? So yes, we stay in our lane as far as marketing goes. Like if you ask me to do Facebook posting for you, I won't. And I'll just be upfront. I'll be like, look, you should do your own Facebook stuff or get somebody in house or whatever. But occasionally a client is like really struggling to ask for reviews. They're like, it's awkward. We don't know what to do. So we'll set up a custom domain for you, right? reviews.yourdomain.com. And we will print like little cards, right? I just do all of this shit on my own. I'll just snag your logo. I'll give you like these little cards. I'll put that on there, and then I'll be like, here, just give these to your people and just leave them on the table, right? Like they can do that. They can literally just
they don't even have to ask. They just have to
ask.
Yeah, here you go.
Right. And so we do that kind of stuff all the time to help people get reviews, because we know people are freaked out about going that. Like it's more than just going the extra mile. It can be awkward. But like one time we just said, hey, you know what? We're going to buy you some truck magnets. Like we know that your trucks are totally unbranded. We know that is weird for people. And we were listening to a call, and there was a person that said, hey, nobody showed up. And the owner was like, yes, he did. He showed up yesterday, and nobody would like answer the door. And they were like, no uniform, no truck wrap, no, like, we didn't know who that guy was. Just some random dude came to our house.
Yeah, it was a dude that showed up in a rickety old truck. Like,
Yes.
who was he? I don't know.
Right, exactly. And so we said, we're gonna buy you some truck magnets. So he put some truck magnets on. We were doing it literally, again, just for that like trust factor. It pays off in the long term. Hilariously, we put a tracking number on there, and he got about a dozen calls over the year.
Yep.
From the number that were like actually leads, which we did not expect. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the damn magnet. I like.
Yeah.
don't not have your shit on your truck. I paid $500. I just have vinyl letters on it. I didn't pay the $3,000 for it, but I'm also not going. I just go to the damn grocery store. I'm not going out to jobs. I'm not bidding anything. I just drive around. Like, why wouldn't I have blue skies written on my truck? Josh Stoll chimed in earlier. He's out in Pennsylvania, said professional look and professional truck with logo make it also easier to close in-person deals. So if you're like going to do a bid, that trust factor right away that says I'm a professional, like you said, it's going to make your long-term shit pay off better. The more like consistent your messaging is, timing wise and branding wise and messaging wise, the more everything is going to work better together.
Levering up.
I like Josh's point back there. Let me hit this. Darren Gruner, shout out to Darren, he runs Turfs Up Radio, which is very focused on like the green industry, the lawn care, landscaping stuff. I got to be on Landscape Lighting Secrets a few weeks ago with Ryan Lee, and that was freaking awesome. I might, if I can trick Darren, I might get to host a show on Turfs Up Radio. And that would be freaking cool to be a part of that. We'll see. I talked to him Friday about that and bookkeeping nerdy stuff. Darren said he almost hired a new SEO company today, but they're all the same thing. Waiting until someone says something that appeals to me. I feel like this is an open door, but I don't know what he's looking for.
Right. I saw that come through just a little bit ago, and I wanted to be like, yo, what would that be? Like, because I mean, on some level, right? Like, we all do the same shit. Like, it's the same.
There's a mathematical formula, and execute like you said. The secret is out, but it's not the idea that's hard. It's the execution that's hard. So who's going to execute? Who's going to be the most, like the bookkeeping that we do? Super easy for us to do. Not a secret sauce. Literally, our differentiator is that our bookkeepers are American made. They're all in the US, and they are super available, and they touch base every single week, even just to say, have a good week, your books are done. Because the bookkeeping is not a differentiator. Now, we know things that other bookkeepers don't, because we also run these types of businesses. So that's a differentiator, that we can be like your CFO, not just your bookkeeper. But literally the thing, like if we ask people what they like most about Blue Sky's bookkeeping, it's like, if I text you, you answer. If I email you, you answer. If I call you, you answer. So like customer service, that's a differentiator. And I feel like, to what you said earlier, SEO is who's actually going to do the thing. It's going to take a while, because SEO takes a while. You just got to do it.
Right. Yeah. And I would say exactly what you just said about the differentiator is, man, we manually verify all the leads, right? So, and we text you reports. Like, we make all the data available, just like every other company, the SEO company does in the whole world. As far as I know now, every company who should pass the sniff test,
every reputable SEO company,
even nominally a reputable SEO company, is giving you all the data now. But we manually verify all the leads, and that takes a shit ton of time to actually literally Mason is listening to thousands of fucking calls every month. And so yeah, I just like, that's our differentiator. We manually but also we don't charge for leads because we learned a long time ago that it wasn't going to work. We were like, no, this does not work over the long term. So anyway, but it's the same work. We're not doing unique shit. Like the secret's out. There's no secret sauce. There's no secret super tip and trick thing that you can't read on Search Engine Journal, or you can't read on Moz blog or Bright Local. Like, everyone worth their salt is using the same tools. It's just about who's going to do your work, and are you going to have a conversation with them? Are you going to know that it's Mason and Mark and Nathan taking care of your shit? And do you like us? Because if yes, then cool, let us be your company. And if you don't, then there's a bunch of other people out there doing it's the same work. So
Yep. The work's just got to get done. Somebody got to do it, and you might as well work with people that you really like to work with and know what they're doing. So, I got some team shout outs. Eric Cheney, who's a bookkeeping client of ours, says, thanks for this, guys. Thanks for checking in, Eric. JC Chanowski says truck wraps are the worst investment. And he's totally lying because he freaking loves his truck wraps. He loves them. Eric said, Kristen emails me every Friday. JC says, love bookkeeping services. Lori is fire. Which is funny because Lori is the most of our bookkeepers are just like, they're 10% as animated as I am. They're just like level, steady, consistent. I mean, they're like the classic, but I am not the classic bookkeeper, right? I'm just like an entrepreneurial finance nerd that somehow ended up with this bookkeeping business, and we can do some cool stuff. But my bookkeepers are all like, let me just handle that. Like, let me just take care of this thing for you. And they're just so damn consistent. So thanks for checking in, guys. Jason Hefner says, talk to Bennett. He told me to tell you it's too soon for ice fishing. It's never, I was gonna say it's never too soon for ice fishing, but like legit, it sometimes is too soon for ice fishing. I am not the first guy to go out ice fishing. I'm the first guy to laugh at the first guy that goes through. Like, I'm the first guy to laugh at him and then be like, okay, I'm gonna wait a week and then I'm gonna go out, assuming we get a nice cold snap. I am not even close to like the first guy out there. Jason's got another shift of saving lives and giving rides, taking care of all the people out there. Eric says, I need to call her. I don't know where to plug in all my cash sales and my P&L. Just keep it off the books. That's all I say.
That's pure cash, dude.
It's just cash. Just keep it off the books. We have like a handful of clients that do cash stuff. I encourage people as they scale to get out of the cash stuff. Totally makes sense when it's like maybe you and a helper. And the minute you're past that, like credit cards and checks, don't like cash. Nope, we don't take cash. I lost $200 the hard way that way. Like, none of my employees would take accountability for it. And all I said was like, the next person that takes cash puts it in my hand, or like, you're fired and you still owe me that cash. Like, customers don't pay cash here. If you take cash, that's your fault. You owe me that cash. I don't care if you say it got lost in this and lost in that and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Jason says, who takes payment in cash asking for a friend? Yeah. So Eric, I do think a directionally correct number in the report that we send, which is a spreadsheet, is fine to say, like, here's some cash numbers. I don't even like putting it in there, because if you ever get audited, it's just a trail of things that you probably didn't pay taxes on that then they're going to say you should pay taxes on. If you're going to take cash, keep it cash, and don't record it. Like, or you're just like lining things up to get in trouble. Do the mental math. You didn't hear that from me. That's just what I see other people do.
Yeah, I basically tell people all the time. I mean, I'm doing integrator services. I'm like helping redo ops management for an accounting firm, like a tax management company. And but basically my take on it has always been, if you gave a receipt, you need to track it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's out there. It happened.
Yeah. Someone has a record somewhere. someone might 1099 you, someone, you know, like you don't
Yep.
know. So if you gave a receipt, just track it.
Yep. Deposit it in the bank, call it a sale. Cash equals beer money on the company. In my books, yep. That's what the cash is for. It's not bookkeeping, balancing your budget in BS. Eric says I was super in the red in July, mostly cash. Want to plug it in myself. Just like add it in, like do a little plus, Excel formula in the report we send you and do a little equals plus and drop it in there and then delete it. Just like, hypothetically, if I had collected this money, what would have happened? Nathan, what didn't we cover? What are we missing?
Oh my gosh.
We talked about tacos. We talked about beer.
I drank a few while we were on here.
That happens. It's been known to happen.
We talked about long and short-term ROI, which I think are incredibly important concepts to understand. We really took a dive into SEO. We really didn't talk through any of the technicalities of anything, which I think is great. If anybody has any questions, like our whole team is available, right? So just like I think Jason said earlier, or too many new names for me and too many beers in to remember them. But people who are asking questions about like what parts of SEO are legit, I'm looking for something that somebody says that's different. And I know we sort of talked about that. Like there's not really much difference in the actual work, but
yeah, it'd be like talking to a banker about how banking works. Like banking still works the same at every bank.
Right.
It just does.
Right. SEO changes all the time, but the work is just the work. Like, if you've got the time, you can stay up on it. So if you have questions, like, again, it's Hoff, it's Mason, it's me, it's Dave. Like, I don't know, just get a hold of us. There's our website. My email is nathan@morleysonline.com. Mason's email is mason@morleysonline.com. Side note,
I see a pattern.
Right. Founders being Nathan and Mason was super confusing for a long time for people. But yeah, just get a hold of us. We answer questions for free all the time. We just like being good resources. So if there's something we didn't cover, I don't know, fucking text me, right? Like
because that shit gets open.
That's right. I'll read it. Even if I don't open it, I'll see what you said. And also listen to the HSL podcast. Like if you have other stuff you want to hear or talk about, like, so this is going to be on the HSL podcast after, I think probably this conversation between us will drop in like a month. But, again, like I talked to Al Levy, he wrote the book, The 7-Power Contractor. I recently talked to Kate Cinemo, and she does explorethetrades.org, a group in St. Paul that is actually, but national, that's like working about, and they support hiring and staffing and training and apprentices. And so like HSL is like, the tagline is, we know growing your home service business can be a pain in the ass, and we talk to people who are succeeding in theirs and hear what they're doing so you can do it too, right? Like
I dig it.
Yeah. So if there's something we didn't cover, then I don't know, go look at a last
check that shit out,
or check out the HSL podcast.
Hell yeah. I need to subscribe to it. I've like scoped it, but I haven't subscribed to it. I need to be a subscriber.
Yeah. Give me boost my account.
Here's my my intent with bookkeeping beer and BS that I have yet to execute on, but I think I'm close. Our admin started this week. Bryn is up and running and live and babysitting me so I don't screw stuff up mostly. But I think I'm also going to have on her to-do list to go through these episodes, carve out the time splits of when we're talking about really important stuff like tacos, beers, whatever, and then cut it down into 5 to 10 minute segments. And then Mikey, who's our social media graphics video editor dude, He's going to carve them up and we're going to drop like a video a day out on YouTube, because one episode of Bookkeeping Beer and BS is like 5 to 7 segments of like good shit. So Bookkeeping Beer and BS YouTube channel is it's going to be right up there with the Joe Rogan experience of like dropping a video a day, like good content. Maybe I'll have Joe on the show. I bet Joe would come on. Like him and Steve Ranella are tight. They go on each other's shows. Maybe I'll go on Meat Eater and on the Joe Rogan experience and, let them come on Bookkeeping Beer and BS. I'll allow them to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, well, I think if you take it on yourself to reach out, then,
I will allow them the pleasure.
We did have Jason asked one question, which I'm actually curious about. Does Blue Skies set up and train my ops manager to run my books, or just handle everything from payments to payroll?
So that's a good question. We do all like the nerdy QuickBooks stuff. We don't do accounts receivable, which is like in your CRM. We don't do accounts payable, which is paying your bills. And we don't do payroll. Not that we can't.
And yet, I want to say yet.
We bill at $75 an hour, and you can go hire somebody for $15 an hour to do those things for you. So it just doesn't make sense. You don't need an accountant to do those things. There's no accounting to use Gusto or Sure Payroll or Paychecks and enter your payroll in. There's no accounting to send emails and invoices to your clients. There's no accounting to pay your bills. It's just a task that somebody needs to do. So it's not high enough. Now, like if it's just getting off your plate and you're the CEO and you're doing those things, which you are when you're starting out, then it's a waste of your time and it's fine to delegate it. We're still like, it would still make more sense to hire a virtual assistant than hire us right now to do those things, because we try to bill at $75 an hour. So we would just be too expensive, and our expertise can't be valuable in that space. In the future, it would be a nice thing for us to take off of people's plates for sure. But it's not value added enough. The other thing that we'd like to do is do more tax stuff, which would be very value added. But it's more like a once a year thing versus we try to do a weekly thing. And we're like the CFO and that's the CPA, right? So different skill sets. But all things I'd like to do is as Nathan put it to me, a good, better, best. We kind of have like, here we throw our fastball. We're still throwing our fastball. We will diversify into more things. But right now we're doing 500,000 in sales, and I'd like to be doing 1 million in sales because I've made the mistake of trying to do too many things at once in the past. Only like a dozen times I've done that. But the baker's dozen here. Someday we'll do that. In the short term, Jason, I can tell you exactly what you need to do and how to do it, and you'll be fine with it. And we'll stay in our lane type of thing.
I'll throw this in here for future, and this is just as much to Dan as anybody who's actually going to watch this episode, but it is definitely part of, like, I'm excited to be friends with Dan, and I really like that we're working together. I love that we get to build your website, which is super fun.
Dude, I freaking love my website in progress. It's just, I mean, like, it's just fucking good website.
Well, and you didn't have to do it, right? Like, and you didn't have to do it.
Yeah, it's mostly that you guys are doing it and that I didn't have to do it.
Right, exactly. But I'm throwing this out there again, just as much to Dan. But like, so we're coming in, and the group of guys that I bring in really is like, we've been doing this marketing thing for a while. But I keep telling Dan, like, I'm doing this work for this accounting firm. Like, that's a partnership. I really do think that Blue Skies and everything inside, like all of the people who are being supported by Blue Skies, I think there's more that we can do to take some of those things off of their plates, like what you just said, because they are the CEOs, they are running the trucks, they're hiring people, which is the hardest job right now. And so to take some of these other things and stuff and tax and stuff is definitely on my mind as I want to get this as a Blue Skies offering sooner than later. And so anyway, I just kind of throwing it out there, maybe for karma or whatever, but we're gonna do this, Dan. It's say yet.
We're gonna do it. We just got a lot of things to do. We got a lot of sausage to make.
We do have a lot of sausage to make. That's true.
especially with deer hunting season coming up. I got 5 deer to go a harvest, and that's gonna be a lot of sausage to make too. So be busy.
Jason says he's pushing for his first legit employee. Jason, if you need help, reach out, explorethetrades.org. Kate and her entire team would love to get you set up with anything that you need. But also, if you just need some recruiting, then you know where to go.
Got that under lock and key.
Yeah,
It is such a goofy recruiting market. I have the CEO roundtable group that I'm a part of in Minneapolis, and one of my cohort has a marketing company, more like a print marketing company focused on very different industries, but had kind of the recruiting challenges of like coming back from COVID and the labor market's goofy. And so we like went through stuff as a group, kind of thinking through his stuff. And then I kind of started laying out like, well, here's how we do it. And then today, a couple of my group got on a Zoom with Sean, our recruiting director, and myself, and we just like walk through like, all right, like make sure you're doing this and make sure you're doing that. It would almost be like, I mean, it's just an inverse marketing plan, right? How do you market to applicants and be sexy and be the differentiator that they want, which is not money all the time. Like money's important. And especially with inflation right now, like you got to make sure you're in the game and keep checking what you need to pay. But culture is what people really look for. So how do you like establish the culture and find the right person? Not that you should change your culture, but be very defined on what your culture is and recruit for that and make sure that they're making enough money, but that they're coming to you not for the money, but for the culture. That always seems to be like the secret sauce in finding that person that's the right fit for you.
Oh man, they're going to stick around if they don't mind being in the truck with you all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. I think I would enjoy being in a truck with Jason all day, every day. I would probably end up having a beer or two and he'd have to drive me home, but that's, to be expected with me, I guess.
That's right. You'd fall asleep in the truck and that's why you'd be in there all day.
No, he would be out cleaning something or saving people's lives, and I'd be there with my hotspot and my laptop, knocking out some QuickBooks.
That's right.
What do you say? For my first employee, I want to recruit someone who wants to do a good job, needs extra money, needs to protect their criminal record. If I get help, if I get help, get them where they're going, maybe they can help me get where I'm going. Well, I don't know if I'm reading it bad or if he wrote it bad, but I think we get what he's saying. Which truck? I don't drive the rescue. I'm the medic. I get stuff done. Well, that makes 2 of us. Somebody will have to drive both of us around, I guess. On that note, nailed it. Nathan, let's do this again sometime. I'm bummed I'm not going to see you next week, but since I live 7 minutes away from you, I'll see you when I see you, which will probably be sooner rather than later. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with Dave down in Atlanta. I'll follow up with you if Dave's coming to Vegas, because I think I need to like buy him a badge for Vegas if he's doing the Vegas show with us and figure out the timing and all that stuff. Or we'll just have to see if he even likes hanging out with us after Atlanta, or is like, man, you guys are absolute douche rockets and good luck in Vegas type of thing.
We'll do a debrief as soon as you guys get back, unless he like slacks me midway and he's just like, I hate these guys.
Yeah. Why do you associate with these guys? What the hell's wrong with you? No, we'll have a good time. That'll be a lot of fun. And despite my best efforts, I think our new booth is going to make it there on time. I got to figure out if they're shipping it to me or shipping it straight to Hotlanta, but hopefully that new booth is done. It'll be fun. Maybe this episode will be on the TV. That'll be a good one. We'll get this up on the TV.
I hope people can. I hope somebody can hear it. Otherwise, they're just going to see my glowy face half the time.
It'll be we'll have a mood volume, enough volume, but not too much where it's distracting. But if somebody when you're walking through a fleet farm and they got the hunting show or the fishing show on in that section, and it's enough to catch your appeal, and you always see somebody standing there looking at it. But it's not overwhelming the whole department. That's what I'm shooting for.
That sounds good. Somebody wanders by, they can be entertained for a minute, and then
and that'll slow them down, and then we'll reel them in with the ice cold bush light.
I'm with you on that.
It'll work for sure. All right, I'm gonna end on this one. Eric says, I was so effing hammered on my Zoom call with Dan when I started my bookkeeping, 10 p.m. on a Sunday, 2 sheets. Dan was a trooper. To Eric's defense, I'm just happy that he remembered he signed up to do bookkeeping with us and wasn't like, hey, who the hell are you and why the hell did you charge my credit card? Eric, do I still have discounted huge tickets? I think I do have like one left, maybe. Not for Jason though. Jason's gonna get in trouble if he gets any more free tickets. He already he rounded up all the free tickets that were out there. But yeah, Eric, I might be able to help you out. On that note, Jason says, nope, I won them all.
Word.
Happy Wednesday night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, commenting, and partying with us like you do. And we'll see you. I might, next Wednesday is going to be the huge convention. Anybody that's watching this, that's still hanging out, like stop by and like, let's do next Wednesday live from the huge convention with you guys. And let's have some fun. We'll probably be at the bar. We'll cut that episode short so we don't incriminate ourselves. We'll have some fun. All right, guys. Good night. Happy Wednesday. We'll see you down at the huge. Boom. Done.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
When your screen goes to like dark, you just look like all that is there is your face. Like your shoulders disappear, your hat's gone, like it's glasses and teeth.
You can't. It's so funny because I have all the porch lights and stuff on still, but it's like really, really dark out here. And so the other thing is that I wasn't totally prepared to go till like 10 o'clock. And so I was like, oh, this is going to get like black. And I thought about moving a few times during that, but realized that Samantha is like near where my normal podcasting setup is. So I was like, I've screwed myself at this point. I'm stuck.
I think it went fine though. Like there was enough light. I had one gal that didn't have enough light, and that was kind of funny. It was kind of like this screen right now. It looked like there were times where it would go this dark, and then you must have like brightened up your computer or something like that.
Yeah.
And that gave it enough light that we could tell you were there.
Yeah, I definitely like got incredibly close to my computer, like really close a couple of times. And I was like, well, good enough.
Yeah,
but
it worked.
Noted mentally, like especially now it's mid-August and I have until about 8:45 with the sun.
Yeah, it goes down quick. Quick.
All right, I was used to it being out until 9:30 2 weeks ago. So all right, good to know. I can tell like this time of year I just transition. I mean, I'm such an outdoorsy goofball. I get so hopped up for like fishing season, but then by like mid-July I'm just like, all right, like I'm just not excited to go fishing as much as I was. And then by August, bow hunting starts to get serious. And Ben and I are going down to Illinois for a week. My dad and I have gone like a week for the last couple of years. And Ben's coming this year. And I just got him into bow hunting last year. So like this year he's obsessed because that's the type of guy he is. And so Tony and Ben and Tony's my brother-in-law, who I also like shot his first deer with the bow last year. And I've been like mentoring him for a few years. So that was pretty sweet to like get him some success. But now it's like days getting shorter. Temps at night getting a little cooler, can open the windows. And my brain just goes to like, what hunting thing do I need? My wife's getting really annoyed because it's like, oh, I need one of these things. And my back is kind of bad. So I should probably get a pack for like carrying this out and doing this thing. So I'm in that mode, which is good right now. Cause then when it's like November, December comes, it's like bookkeeping galore with everybody being like, oh, taxes, I need a bookkeeper. So I love that people do that in PSF stuff too, right? Or they're like, oh shit, I need to hang my Christmas lights. And then also they're like, oh shit, taxes.
Yep. I didn't think of this, but here's the thing that's going to happen.
Right. How did you not know? It happens every year.
It's on a schedule. It's like they planned it.
Right, exactly. And this happened to you last year and the year before, and you did the same thing.
Yeah, it's very reactive approach.
Oh well, whatever. All right, man. I'm gonna pack it in.
Pack it in. Good hanging with you. I appreciate you hanging in there for all the. Every time you try to like stop, the guests have a Minnesota goodbye. So it's just they keep hanging in there.
That was awesome. We'll probably chop this up into like a couple episodes, or Dave will like severely cut it down, one or the other. So
the first 20 minutes of it he can probably cut out, but that was the fun part.
right, yeah, exactly. He'll definitely slice a ton of just like the bullshit or whatever, but he'll probably keep all the marketing conversation and especially the stuff at the end where you're actually just answering people.
I like it. All right, man. Good night. We'll talk to you soon.